Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Slam Talks Sports. I'm Slam, and today we're talking about my SuperCoach side, Slam's Superstars, which scored 2,089 points in round one. Now, that is by no means a good score. It's an average score, but some of the best scores in round one were 2,200 plus. I know this because a few of my friends scored that and have been telling me how good they are at this game. Now, to break down my side, firstly, we look at the back line. Harry Sheezel, 106 points. That's okay. It's not what we wanted as your vice captain. We wanted far more than that, but it is okay. We'll get through that. They lost the game, which they do very often, but he scored all right. Jordan Clark, 107. Now, Jordan Clark found his way into my team the very late stages on Thursday and Friday before round one had completed, and it was at the expense of Max Holmes, which I now regret as he scored 125 points. If you have enlisted Maximum Holmes this year, you're looking pretty sweet. He played a midfield role. He kicked goals. He went forward. He did it all. Jordan Clark will be fine, I think, but we go to Perth this weekend. He needs to drop 100 or a big daddy ton to give me a bit of confidence. Now, here's where the spuds start coming into play and my biggest concerns are laid out. Jaden Short. What was that? 65 points in the first half, 83 points full time. Were you cramping? Were you feeling old? Was it the fact your team had overturned a 41-point deficit so they didn't need your cheap kicks off halfback? We don't know. But you play Port Adelaide this weekend at Adelaide Oval, Ken's playpen. You need to drop 100, my friend, or you might get the chop next week. As a general rule, I'm not going to advocate trading mid-prices or premiums this round because it's round one. Most players are not going to change price this week. And if they will, I will inform you and tell you the correct decision in my eyes of what we should be doing going forward. Short, you're on the watch list. Matty Roberts. Now, this is a player whose price will change this weekend. They go to play Fremantle in Perth on Sunday, but it will be his third game of the season. So a price rise is imminent. Personally, I love Matthew Roberts' role. Doesn't always get the kickouts, but he's often the first received player from kickouts. Should be good to average 100 plus, and at 435,000, we can't ask for much more from a defender. I think Matty Roberts, if you didn't have him, is a viable trade-in selection, but I wouldn't be rushing to get him just because Nick Blakey has still got a large hold on those kickouts. Now we get to the spuds on my team, the proper guys who let me down, and I'm worried about going forward. Connor O'Sullivan, who is a third-year player for the Geelong Cats, 48 points. Now, 48 points ain't good enough. They won't cut it. Not on my field. Not on anybody's field. It's not enough. But his job security looks sound for the next 2 to 3 weeks. The Cats won by 70 points. He played a role in defence. He's going to drip feed you money and slowly generate the cash you need to cull him. When I say cull him, I mean slit his throat in the middle of the night. In fantasy terms, not real, like, whoa, just fantasy. Then bring in a young kid off the street. This sounds wrong. Bring in a young kid from the SuperCoach team, in the SuperCoach realm, from someone else's real-life football side at $110,000, $113,000. We'll do that in 2 to 3 weeks' time, make that money, put it in our pocket, and spend it wisely in the weeks that come. Ben Padden. Ben Padden is a big worry. He's probably a bigger worry than Zach Reid and Luke Traynor, who you can see on my bench, because Ben Padden got subbed. That's not good. You cannot have your players get subbed or get low scores because they don't make money. Simple enough. The issue with Padden is Riley Bice was the sub and he came in, and they're likely competing for the same position. We'll find out a little bit more tonight and tomorrow at 5 o'clock when final teams are locked in for the Sunday games. But Ben Padden will get a small price rise this week because it'll be his third game. But that might be it for him. He might not be good enough to keep, and if he is dropped, that is the decision we have to make whether we want to hold him beyond this week. Zach Reid, Luke Traynor, they got 45, and then got 50. Not the best, not what you want to see, but unfortunately, due to the dearth of defensive rookies, that's going to have to do for now. Jackson Pryor got 50, and he's 170,000. Luke Cleary got his face and head rearranged by Jackson Archer unintentionally, so he's not going to be a viable option SuperCoach either. Reid and Traynor are the best of a bad bunch. We will hold them for now, but we'd love to see a little bit more. As you can notice today on YouTube, I'm a small slam. I've been squished. Like, I'm just over here and my team's over there. So I'll scroll down and I'll show you what else is happening with my group of spuds. The biggest spud of them all this week is the dual Brownlow medalist, Lachie Neale. What on earth happened on Saturday, Lachie? You got tagged out of the game by James Jordan? James fucking Jordan? For 2 quarters, you didn't touch the ball. You are the greatest pig in Supercoach terms, besides the great Gary Jr. You just get the ball 40 times a game. You had it 10 times. That's not good enough. If I'm a Lachie Neale owner, I'm not trading this week. They play West Coast at the Gabba. That is the perfect matchup. It is a cupcake matchup. He should get 125. If he doesn't, then serious discussions would be had about trading Lachie Neale and shorting him, about taking that money, 650,000 nearly, and using it across the rest of the side to improve this group of bums. Lachie Neale, you've got 1 week to prove yourself, or next week, off with your head. Andrew Brayshaw, 101 points for Andrew Brayshaw. Okay, not the worst, but we want better from our mid 2. Now, they got flogged. They lost by 70 points. They now go home. Better matchup, hopefully, but James Jordan's going to him or Sarong, which is the big worry. Brayshaw's got at least another week before we think about trading him. I think he's a long-term hold. He's a great player, former MVP of this league. Hold Brayshaw for now. Oliver, similar. 450k, he's cheap enough, but it wasn't good enough. 93, we need more. We do need more. There's other options in my team, especially like Finn Callahan, even Adam Chera, who could potentially give us more for the next month. But Oliver, calm, caution, calm her down, as the great Abs Magic said. We will be okay. Chera plays tonight. Hopefully you watch this game before Chera goes out there and has 110 points against Hawthorn. He was fine. Issue with Chera, he had like 85 points midway through the third quarter, ended up on 106. A lot of these players just put it in H for the last quarter, which you can't have. The last quarter in games of Supercoach is when you score the most points, because it's the most up for grabs usually, and the scaling. So points are not worth double, but they're worth more. He did nothing in the last quarter. He'll be okay. I'm confident with Chera, as long as those hammies stay intact, that he'll be all right for the first 6 weeks, and then we piss him off. Finn Callahan. He was brilliant in opening round against Collingwood, dropping 140 points. He was very good against Melbourne in round 1 with 104. He has the bye this week. If you loved Finn Callahan's game, don't trade him in. You wait for next week. You see, out of all your players, who's the most underperforming at around that price bracket, and you get Finn Callahan in. I'm very confident Callahan will make us 120, 130 grand, put up some good scores in the meantime, and then he will be a top 12 to 14 Supercoach mid. Very good selection for me. Pat myself on the back. Nathan O'Driscoll, another good selection. I would have him almost as a must get, even this week, if you had to do a trade. 91 points, heaps of centre bounce attendances. He won't get tagged this week by Jordan. That'll be Brayshaw or Sarong. So he's in line for a big game. I think O'Driscoll's must own, but he's played 1 game. If you didn't have to trade this week, you could wait 1 week, but he's someone I would be looking to get in next week. Someone I'm potentially looking to get out of my side is Elijah Sardis. Now, Sardis scored about 20 points in the first half. Essendon were down big. He plays a much more pronounced role in the second half, has about 13 touches, including 8 in the last quarter. If you're looking to trade in O'Driscoll or even a Ned Long, we'll touch on Longy soon, then Sardis might need to be the sacrificial lamb. Due to the fact I don't see him scoring 90s anytime soon, because he's behind Zach Merritt, he's behind Durham, he's behind Caldwell, who is brilliant. And if Darcy Parish plays next week, he could be behind Darcy Parish or even playing in the VFL Sardis. He's one that's just a borderline selection, as Taman Parler said. They're on the borderline, dangerously fine. I don't know if you can keep him long term, but for me, I'm going to hold him for 1 more week just to get a look at him. Mitchell Nevitt. Now, Nevitt was very good. I think everyone needs Nevitt on their bench at worst. 82 points. Geelong play, 10, 11 games in Geelong. If you can hold his spot for the next 6-7 weeks, that's a bunch of money coming your way. Very, very good, valid selection. Just checking on that bench there. A few absolute spuds. O'Sullivan, 50 points. He needs to play halfback. He needs to get a kick. Okay, he had, 16, 17, 18 touches. That's okay. Needs to use it better. We're holding O'Sullivan for this week until we see teams tonight, okay? Then we'll jump on Twitter and discuss it all. Angus Hastie. Now, I picked Hastie as a bit of a POD bench pick. Issue is he got subbed by Ross Lyon in the third quarter when Brad Hill had one disposal. Talk about playing favourites. I think Hastie should play this week. If he doesn't, then that could potentially be your O'Driscoll or Ned Long trade. Camporale, he's playing tonight. He got 56 playing on a wing, had 20-ish touches. As long as he's not subbed tonight, we can feel confident about him being buried at M9. I'll talk about all the relevant sub 200Ks in a second. I'm just going to quickly make my way through the rest of my team. Gorney was fine, 130 against King Keith, expected. De Koning was brilliant. I mean, De Koning might even be your VC pick for tonight's game. Plays Lloyd Meek, who is a great ruckman, but just it's the scoring potential of De Koning right now. 148 points, and he came off for a little bit because he got hit in the head by Nank. He was hit in the head by Tom Lynch, who received a week. So I would be pretty keen on having De Koning in my side. But if you did have a Lloyd Meek or a Tim English, or I'm thinking of other mid-price rucks you had, even Flynn was your R2, I'd probably still wait one more week. I know we only have 3 trades potentially we can make next week, but I'm always adverse to trading in round 1 because I'm personally not going for overall because I know how shit my team is and how many mistakes I'll make. I want to score as many points as possible, don't get me wrong, but this show will be a good 50-50 mix, as Charlie Hunnam said in The Gentleman. What's wrong with a great 50-50 mix? We're going to look at overall, but also league play, because we play to play against our mates and to beat our mates. Harry Boyd on the bench, pretty valid. Marshall could only have, I don't know how many points he scored, but he was on one knee in the first quarter. He was icing that damn thing. So that's a worry going forward. I think Harry Boyd should have some viable job security. Move on to the forward line, and I've got Horn Francis, the horny one. He got destroyed. He was terrible. Still scored 80. You want the horny one in your team going forward. Jack McRae, he had 34 touches. I think Kane Corns wants him dropped to the VFL, even though the VFL season hadn't started yet, which seems odd because he used the ball at about 10%. But McRae and Supercoach will be rolled gold for all your forward lines. Do not even think about moving him anytime soon. Here's the big one. He is your player of the round for round 1, in my opinion, just due to the value and where he plays. Bailey Smith, 147k forward. If you looked at AFL 360 last night, not AFL Thrifty, AFL 360, Horse Longmire and Adam Simpson, 2 sacked coaches, described how brilliant Bailey Smith is in transition. It is the ability to win the ball on the outside and run his damn guts out to get the ball forward. He's must own. I was unsure in the preseason. Usually when you have a Pilates injury, you're about 70 years old. That's not good. That's not what I want to see from one of my premium forwards. But Bailey Smith, Baslenka, looked absolutely incredible. He is the must trade in option for round 1. If you don't own him, find a way to get him. Caleb Daniel as a tough cut off by my docking bar. That's fine. 81 points. He was okay. Didn't use the ball very well. The role was there. It's all about role we're looking for in Supercoach. Will he get enough possessions and will he be force-fed the ball on the half-back line? He will. So he's fine for now. Pal Pepper, the biggest spud on my team. He scored 18 points. Absolutely diabolical. I think I could have got more disposals than Pal Pepper on Saturday night. I know I had 5 touches for East Sunbury when I played last year, but Pal Pepper had about that against the Pies. I think I could do a hell of a lot better than what he did. Is he a trade? If I can find a way to piss him off, I will. Because the cash generation doesn't appear to be there after scoring 18 points. It just doesn't. But I'm such a conservative Supercoach player, I might give him one more round in the hope he can drop an 80 against Richmond, and then I assess. Then I take a step back and think, who else on my team can I cull? It might be Pal Pepper in a week's time, but I do love to sit, watch, enjoy the Super Saturday that is upon us and see what happens, okay? I'm not stressing to be conservative. I'm just saying, take a step back. You've done 6 months of research, 6 months of data. Don't throw it all out the window after one game, okay? Sam Davidson, SPP, signing for the SSP? SPP? He was signed by the Doggies in the preseason. That's what I know. He scored 39 points. He kicked a goal. He looks to be in the Doggies' best team for now. There's all those injuries. Not that encouraged by the score, but it's fine. I probably won't have him on my field this week. I'll probably put Kako or Hewitt because just look like their scoring potential is a little bit higher right now. But Davison is fine for your bench. Getting to Kako and Hewitt, they scored fine. I mean, what other forward rookies are banging the door down to come into your side? There's no one really that I can see. I mean, Max Hall would be an option. They still have another game before you need to look at his price rise. So Max Hall's on the radar, but Kako and Hewitt, they look fine to me. Let me know in the comments what you think of my team of spuds. I think for 2,089 points, not that bad, really. The bench rookies seem to be fine. I can go and get a Ned Long type if I wanted to, or a Levi Ashcroft. He's the big one I don't own. But really, the balance looks okay. We'll see how they go this round. Feel free to roast me in the comments. Now, I'm going to go from small slam to big slam. Watch this. Ah! He's back. He's back in living color. Now, there's 4 players this round. 4? Look how stuffed up that hand is. That's surgery from falling down Flinders Street. 4 players, what we want for this round. That I think are close to must-have. Maybe the last one isn't quite must-have. We could wait 1 week. Okay. Number 1, Bailey Smith. At $389,000, you need him. He got 147. He had 35 touches. He kicked a goal. His meters gained were off the Richter scale. I mean, there's a scale of meters gained, and he broke that scale because he was running so hard back and forth all day long. You need him. You need Bailey Smith, okay? Number 2, it would be Nathan O'Driscoll from the Fremantle Football Club. 198,000. That's pretty cheap for a player that's in his, 3rd or 4th year? I think 3rd. And he played really well as a first-year player. He got 100 in one of those games. Got 90 on the weekend, had centre bounce attendances. I think you need Nathan O'Driscoll going forward. Fremantle looked to be a pretty good side. I know they didn't show that on Saturday, but they looked to be a pretty good side for the rest of the season. If you can have that good wing role on the opposite side of Jeremy Sharp, then I think we're going to be in good stead to make some nice money. Now, there's 2 more players I want to discuss heading to this round and all-important trades, and one of them is Ned Long from the Collingwood Football Club. Ned Long scored 115 SuperCoach points against Port Adelaide on Saturday night. He attended a bunch of centre bounces, had a lot of contested possessions, and importantly broke a lot of tackles, which led to goals for Collingwood. Ned Long was the sub week 1. He scored 30 against the Giants, but that was all in 1 quarter. He got exposed to a larger midfield role, and he took it with both hands and relished it. He was often the person winning it at ground ball level or inside the contest and feeding it to the likes of Dan Houston and Nick Dacos. Personally, I'll be looking for a way to bring Ned Long into my side if it makes sense, just because I think he can make 120, 130 grand if he maintains in this role. He has the bye next week, which is the big worry. Is he going to find himself out of the side, or is the sub or subbed or in a different position next week, particularly because Perryman played on a wing against Port, Sidebottom played inside. They did move a few magnets, but I loved what I saw out of Ned Long. And after a 90-point win for Collingwood, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to move the magnets too much. It worked too well. Last one I want to touch on is Levi Ashcroft from Brisbane. Scored 84 points, including 51 points in the last quarter. He had a huge final term. Do I want him this week? Probably not. I want to see one more week, and I know they play West Coast, so he could get 130, then we have to get him, and you don't get those points. But it's just because that midfield is so stacked, and Neil had a really bad game. So Neil, Dunkley, McCluggage, his brother Will, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Now, he's cheap. Like, he's going to make money. I'm not disputing that. But do we absolutely have to get him this week? No. Will I think about it heavily next week? Yes, I will. Now, here is my rankings of all the players sub 210K in SuperCoach and whether we need to get them right now. This is stay or go, slay or no, whatever you want to call it. Here's the rankings. As you can see, I've got O'Driscoll on top. He should certainly make us a bunch of money. Has a good role at Freo. Mitch Nevitt, number 2, looks locked into that Geelong team, scored 80 points. I do have Ned Long at number 3, just because he has the price rise coming this week. I like me some Neddy Long. Little Levi Ashcroft, number 4, we think is going to be an absolute star. The scoring potential is clearly there. Isaac Kako at number 4. He looks to be locked into this team, can score all right. Got 60 with 1 goal. Luke Traynor, Sam Lawler, Xavier Lindsay. Didn't touch on these guys really before. All to have pretty solid roles, will score okay, just not in a rush to get him this round. Corey Warner, he is on the bubble this round. I'm probably going to get him because my rookies are doing okay, but he scored 50 and a 70. There's definitely a nice role for him to carve out for that Sydney team, and he can score well as he kicked 2 goals, 2 against Brisbane. It could have been a lot more. Max Hall would be a viable forward pickup. Sam Davidson, we're going to hold him for now. Murphy Reed, how good was that? He kicked 4 goals in the space of 6 minutes and scored 40 SuperCoach points for the whole game. Pretty crazy, but it's because he was on -10 before that. He couldn't get a kick, and every time he got it, it was a 50-metre penalty or a free kick against. Sardis we've touched on. O'Sullivan we've touched on. The other O'Sullivan we've touched on. Don't think they're related, just a nice nickname or a nice name, sorry. Riley Bice, he was sub. We touched on that. Got to look at him for 1 more week. They've got the bye next week. We're going to have a look at him during his bye. Ben Patton needs to make money this week or we will kick him in the head. And James Leake. I took out James Leake at the last second. He was an unmitigated disaster for SuperCoach sides. Tom Green stole his milkshake. He drank it right up from the second he got into that team. Well, he was on 5 points at halftime, James Leake. He is not someone I want to keep long term. They're on the bye, as I said, but next week we will look to flog him off out of our sides. My trades for tonight and for round 2, probably going to be Camporelli or Hasty to Ned Long. Camporelli is named, so probably going to be him. I will see if Hasty is named. If not, Sardis or O'Sullivan will likely get the chop. I wish I could trade Pal Pepper, but he's stuck in my forward line. That absolute spud has put down anchor and needs to score this week, or I will go out with a chainsaw and remove him from my side myself. That is it for my SuperCoach wrap-up, my degustation of my SuperCoach side. We'll talk about it all again next week for what is the big trading week in SuperCoach. See you all. Enjoy the footy. Have a big weekend. Let's go.